Bapanada everyone! Team Chair is cooking up the sequel to Hollow Knight, and I'm as hyped as you are. Since we don't know when it's coming out, I thought a nice way to let the time pass is to talk about our expectations for the game. We gathered quite a nice round of people here in the last week, so I thought we could make an open discussion about this. That means I will present my thoughts and views in this video and you write yours in the comments. The more comments we get, the better this discussion will be. I'll talk about as many things as possible in this video, but who knows, I still might forget something, so be sure to write about anything and everything you can think about regarding Silksong in the comments. I'll start by talking about movement upgrades. We have already seen this game's version of the dash and also a way to pull yourself towards enemies and structures, which could be a tool but will most likely be a movement upgrade since it upgrades your movement. We will also get a wall jump for sure as seen in the trailer. Now apart from that, many things are open, and while I'm not creative enough to think of any more upgrades regarding movement itself, let's talk about another possible upgrade: diving. Now it was first planned that Hollow Knight gets its own underwater sequences, but it was cut from the game during development. The short passage to On reminds me of a place that was most likely once meant to be underwater. They could either include a breathing ability in Silksong or make you dive underwater endlessly. Now I would really like underwater passages because it would put us Hollow Knight veterans in front of a new challenge, a new playstyle to master. This gets us right to my next point: difficulty. I think for new players who haven't played the original Hollow Knight, the game will just be as difficult as Hollow Knight was for us. And although we have a lot of experience from Hollow Knight, we will also have quite a hard time since we will have to get used to Hornet's faster and more vertical movement options in Silksong. And now to get a few minor things out of the way, I believe Silksong will have a bit more of everything: enemies, bosses, areas, etc. I also think the game will be longer than the original Hollow Knight, due to them making you backtrack a bit more via side quests. Team Cherry mentioned that the side quests are there to make us revisit areas in interesting ways and therefore making the game longer. They also showed us the quest board in the reveal trailer, which gave us the info that there will be gathering quests, hunting quests, and most likely escort missions and boss hunts, which sounds like a lot of stuff to do. Now speaking of things of which we will have more of, NPCs. Or at least we will have more ways to interact with them. For example in the side quests I just mentioned. There will also be a lot more towns, which is always nice as safe havens are normally few and far between in the normal Hollow Knight. A few people have said that Silksong will be less grim and more fun and sparkly magical world style. And I know why one would say that, but I still feel like Silksong will have dark themes in its story, compared to Dark Souls and Sekiro. Sekiro is way more colorful in its presentation, but it's still not a game where I would like to spend time in its world. And the added color just makes the dark areas that more grim and scary, and I think that will also apply to Hollow Knight Silksong. Another thing I would like to talk about are the tools. While the red ones are for battle, the other two types are unknown. One might increase stats passively, but for the other one I basically have no clue, so leave your opinions in the comments. Let's talk about the length of the game in detail now. Given that they are trying to make more enemies and all that, I think the game's world will be as big as Hollow Knight and maybe up to 10% bigger. Now add that we have more stuff to do and we might have a game on our hands which is approximately as long as Hollow Knight with, and that's my guess, every DLC except Godmaster. This is, as a lot of this video is, highly speculative, but it's just my guess. Let's talk about returning characters. I'm sure that one character will return: Mr. Mushroom. I mean, he flies off into the same direction as the bugs who capture Hornet go in, and it's even flat out sad that we will meet him again. For the other characters, I'm not so sure. Breda is the only one I could imagine seeing since she also leaves Hellonest. Now for the rest of the characters, I'm pretty sure we won't see them. But since Silksong is a sequel, we might have to deal with decisions we made in Hollow Knight. since each ending is equally canon. Now Team Cherry could just not do anything with the endings from Hollow Knight, or they could, and this is a crazy and unlikely thought, make you choose in the beginning. Like if you have the first two endings, the Infection might play a role in Silksong, and if you have the other ones, the Shade Lord might play a role. Or if you choose to do this flower side quest with the Godseeker, nothing will carry on towards Silksong, since Void and Infection are seemingly defeated. And in the beginning of Silksong you could choose which ending you chose in Hollow Knight. Again, I do think Silksong will most likely tell its own tale, but I do think that this possibility would be interesting, although it would be way more complicated to develop. Now I also think there will be multiple endings, and 3 would be the desired sweet spot for me, but I'm almost sure there will be at least 2. I'll try to get each one in my 100% blind playthrough, which will start once the game comes out, and I'm beyond excited for it. Now Silksong mode will be this game's variant of Stizzl mode, and frankly I have no idea what they're gonna do with it. They said that it would be more interesting than Stizzl mode, so if you have any ideas, write them in the comments. Last but not least, let's talk about the song aspect, the needle-in that Hornet gets to play. I think this feature is like the Dream Nail, which was very complex and interesting, and one of the best things about the game. Now I don't know what it could do, maybe just open passages or make us bend lower creatures' minds to our will, given that stuff like that seems to be common in Farloom. This might be one of the things I'm most excited about for Silksong, to see what the needle-in actually can do. Now let's round things up by a question that's blunt and subjective, but still really important for such a video. Will Silksong be better than Hollow Knight? Now I think it depends on how much you like the original, what you see as good, and what you would consider better. Let me explain. If you only go by the looks of games, chances are in your favor you'll like Silksong even more than Hollow Knight, due to it having better art design. But how you judge if a game is better than its predecessor can also be different. Some may say if the game is better at anything than the first game and is on par at the other areas, the game is better. Other people might expect developers to get more experienced and therefore creating better games, like how a first game in a series is held particularly high for doing something new, and the second game can't be as good as the first if it just has similar amounts of content and does everything like the first game without innovating. For example, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The second one has, in my opinion, slightly better levels, but that alone doesn't make it a better game than the first, and therefore I am always torn between the two games. So Silksong is the better game if they pack it full of surprises out of left field. Now I do think that that is quite possible. Either way, I am sure Team Cherry are working their butts off to get a game out that is worthy of being called a sequel to Hollow Knight. So let's tackle this question again once we have all played all of Silksong. I could have talked about a lot more in this video, but I couldn't have said a lot about those topics, so I didn't include them and will just throw them out there for you all to speculate upon. What is the role of the Weavers in Farloom? Why was Hornet captured? What's up with those strange doors we saw in the demo? Will we get DLC for Silksong? Why is Stizzl a low budget version of Mossback? Why do I keep having erotic dreams about soap? That's it for now. I'll hopefully see you sooner than later. My Stizzl run is recorded in its entirety and the remaining parts will be uploaded on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Other than that, I have 2 or 3 videos left about Hollow Knight which I could do, and I'll definitely update you on everything Silksong. If any changes of any kind happen, I'll let you know in the comments. Anyway, farewell my fellow higher beings.